Killing in every part of GTA is one of the cornerstones of gameplay. Whether it is good or not, it is not for us to judge. As a curiosity, we will only add that we started our adventure with the GTA series at the age of 6, and you'll not believe it, but we haven't killed anyone yet. Anyway, it does not change the fact that while playing GTA San Andreas and wanting to play this game at the same time, we will not be able to do it in such a way that no one dies in the end. And we're not even talking about situations such as running over NPCs or rampages. It is simply not possible in terms of the plot of the game. And while some characters don't deserve to live, and we know this topic will always be a controversial and non-obvious issue, there are also those people that have actually died because of the whims of the employers for whom we perform tasks in the GTA franchise. In this episode, we'll cover some examples of such characters in GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. We will see who was wrongly killed, and we will also explain why we think so. Let's start with the controversial guy when it comes to the topic discussed today, because there will certainly be people who, due to the sheer aversion to this person, will say that it is good that she died at a certain stage of the game. We are talking about Kenji Kaisen, who fell victim to Claude after Donald Love offered him big money for eliminating one of the most important members of the Japanese Yakuza. Kenji fell victim to Avery Carrington's teachings to Donald, and this is the point here.
Now, nothing brings down real estate prices quicker than a good old-fashioned gang war.
Nothing drives down real estate prices like a good old-fashioned gang war.
Kenji Kaisen was killed solely because Donald wanted to earn money on real estate and land prices that plummet dramatically when there are wars between criminal organizations in the area. It was absolutely nothing personal. Donald just wanted to make a lot of money by manipulating land prices and real estate prices. Of course, this does not exclude the fact that Kenji Kaisen committed many crimes and that he probably indirectly contributed to the deaths of many people. But taking only this situation into account, he did not do anything wrong. Obviously, we could not forget about the threat of the Crash Police Unit, which involved CJ in a whole bunch of murders that absolutely should not have happened. And so, let's take a closer look at the task that, in some way, begins the rural episode of Carl Johnson's life. We are talking about the mission called Badlands, where we learn that a former ally of Tenpenny and Pulaski has been caught by the FBI recently. It all started when he found out that Crash became overwhelmingly corrupted, and decided to report this. The character who becomes our target during the mission Badlands is the perfect candidate to testify that could effectively plunge the Crash unit in the future. For this reason, in order for Tenpenny to sleep better at night, as even Pulaski himself mentions, we must simply kill this person. This is not the only example where a guy who wants to do something good for society ends up being killed. CJ didn't have much choice at that point. He was blackmailed into the murder of Officer Ralph Pendlebury.
Well, what do we got here?
This is a weapon, Officer Pulaski, that was used to gun down a police officer not 10 minutes ago. Officer Pendlebury. A fine man, I might add. You work fast, nigga.
You know I just got off the plane.
Well, that's a good thing we found you and retrieved the murder weapon.
That ain't my gun.
Don't bullshit me, Carl.
Yeah, don't bullshit him, Carl.
What the fuck you want from me this time?
A very similar situation takes place during the quest called Snail Trail, where two journalists who have some unpleasant information about Pulaski are getting murdered. Once again, people who could do a lot of good and contribute to the conviction of a corrupt police unit from Los Santos are killed. Exactly the same example as the previous two can be seen during the misappropriation quest. This time, a DEA agent discovers that Crash Unit operates outside the law and has irrefutable evidence to prove it. Tenpenny and Pulaski send CJ to get the agent and intercept the files that are dangerous, as a result, getting rid of further evidence. In the end, this is also what happens, and, not sadly, another innocent person is dying in front of our eyes and from our gun. Another great example showing that innocent people die not only under the wheels of vehicles on which we traverse city streets is the figure of a developer from Vice City. In the mission entitled 4 Iron, Avery Carrington tells us to convince the landowner to simply give up his land. It is a bizarre situation, but in Avery's eyes, Tommy looks like a person who is capable of persuading the owner to even do something like that. The situation is very similar to Kenji Kaisen's. Just like during the events of GTA 3, Donald Love wanted to get rich, and so was Avery Carrington in Vice City. Huge money once again led to the killing of an innocent-looking person. A person more or less responsible for the deaths of two innocent people can also be a corrupt cop, Ray Machowski. First of all, we will bring up the case of the mission Two-Faced Tanner, where Claude receives an order from Asuka to kill one of the Yakuza drivers. And despite the fact that Claude receives from Asuka Kaysen, in reality this could be possible because of Ray Machowski, who informs the Yakuza boss that the driver of this organization is an undercover cop. A second example of a character who may have been wrongfully murdered by Ray is his former partner. We witnessed this event during the mission called Gone Fishing. Machowski informs us that his partner is reporting to the federal authorities about Ray's illegal cooperation with Yakuza. Note that Claude is killing someone for whom Ray doesn't even have any evidence. Machowski bases the order only on his assumptions. The feds clearly want to get his ass pinned, but that doesn't mean that everyone around Ray must be a traitor trying to completely overwhelm him. Also, not only the death of Ray's ex-partner may be wrong for this reason, but even the fact that if Ray is right, a good cop is killed in the fight against corruption in GTA series once again. Meanwhile, we return to GTA Vice City where, while completing tasks for Mr. Black, we can also notice that some innocent people are dying. First, let's move on to the task called Waste the Wife. Mr. Black informs Tommy that he has another assignment for him, and he can find details of this job under the phone booth. Mainly, a woman driving a yellow Comet becomes the target. Interestingly enough, Tommy is asked to kill her, but it has to look like a car accident so that no one would question how Mrs. Dawson died. It is very likely that Mr. Black's client needed a large influx of money, which would be guaranteed by getting his wife's insurance. We had a very similar situation in the mission called The Wife in GTA 3. Marty Chonks killed his wife just to get a lot of money from her insurance, which he needed to finance his company's debts. Nevertheless, in both cases, the guilty women did nothing wrong to be killed. Interestingly, in one of Mr. Black's missions, we can find yet another example. This time, the victim is to be a local pizza delivery man. However, unlike the case of Mrs. Dawson, we can only guess why someone wants this guy dead. All we know is that there's a slim chance that the pizza delivery man deserves his death. Moving on, let's look at the demolition mission from GTA San Andreas, in which Kendall complains to CJ and Caesar that she is being offended by construction workers from a nearby construction site. CJ comes up with a, let's say, brilliant idea. Of course, in such a situation, you should react and condemn such behavior, but we are not entirely convinced that killing an entire team of workers is a good idea. And more than that, CJ generates significant financial losses for the company by destroying the barracks standing on the construction site, while even causing really shitty death to a foreman. The question is whether it is really worth taking to heart the words of random people and taking such drastic steps to solve a problem. Let us know what you think. Meanwhile, thanks for watching. Do you know any other characters that shouldn't be killed? If so, share your thoughts about them with us. Take care and see you soon.